name is Mitch Rosenstein. I'm a principal of Green Mills Group, the developer of this community, Burlington Post. We also developed Burlington Place, just up the street. It's really our honor to welcome you today. In some ways, today's press conference is a celebration, and in other ways, today is a call to action. We can and we should celebrate communities like this because they represent the best successes of public-private partnerships. Communities like Burlington Post simply do not happen without significant investments of time and money from both the public and private sectors. Between Burlington Post and Burlington Place, we developed about 140 homes for St. Pete's working families and senior citizens who live on fixed incomes. About $30 million was invested into these two communities. The city provided low interest rate loans. Our main banking partner, Raymond James, invested both debt and equity into these communities, proving their commitment to affordable and workforce housing here in Pinellas County, where they're headquartered. This is their backyard, and they invested a lot of money into these communities too. Not all cities recognize the need for affordable housing, or worse, some cities recognize the need for affordable housing, but they don't want affordable housing. We call them NIMBYs, not in my backyard. Well, we're proud of Burlington Post and we're proud of Burlington Place. We are proud of these communities. But more importantly, our residents are happy. No building is without its flaws and we're not perfect. But on the whole, and most importantly, our residents are happy and can afford to live in this beautiful development. Here in St. Pete, elected officials understand the acute need for affordable and workforce housing. And they recognize the importance that St. Pete's workforce be able to live in St. Pete with dignity. It's a privilege to be able to introduce Mayor Kreisman. The mayor has remained adamant that as St. Pete grows, its workforce cannot be forgotten and cannot be unreasonably priced out of the city. He's been one of the best advocates for affordable and workforce housing, and the city is lucky to have him at the helm. Mayor Kreisman, please say a few words.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. And thank you, Mitch, from the Green Mills Group, for hosting us today and for creating such a special development here in St. Petersburg. So I remember being blown away when I was here for the ribbon cutting, and I'm reminded again just how beautiful this place really is. It is the type of development we need more of here in St. Petersburg. And it's a reminder that affordable doesn't mean inferior. Now, last year, the city council member for the district we're in today said, quote, "If I could do 100 projects with the Green Mills Group in St. Petersburg, I would." This development is a step in the right direction, especially for our senior population, but it's only a drop in the bucket. Today, we are going to rededicate ourselves to filling up that bucket. But first, I want you to hear from that council member, Amy Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mitch and Green Mills Group. I couldn't be happier for all of the faces here today. I was speaking to a representative this weekend, and they said, you know, this topic is really emotional. They weren't really prepared when they did the Affordable Housing Roundtable a couple weeks ago for the emotions that go with this topic. Well, it's emotional because housing is a human right. And we're here today to recognize that everyone deserves a roof over their head. And the mayor is going to talk to us about a housing plan that is for all, from all. I have to tell you, every city that tackles this issue says they wish they would have started 10 years before. We're no different in that place. Your council members and your city administration have been hard at work for more than 2 years, exploring every possible solution to this problem. And why? Because we have 4,000 children who have nowhere to live right here in Pinellas County. We have nurses, we have police officers, we have single moms, we have teachers who can't afford to live in our communities. So I'm excited to stand beside the mayor as he announces this plan today. And I hope that everyone will get behind this We do need more neighborhoods to support developments like this. When I ran for office 6 years ago, my district was not excited for Green Mills to come into the community. And Mitch and Oscar and Green Mills worked really hard to earn trust and respect and to work with the neighborhood. And now, just last week, I posted an article about an Maltese Cardinal development right across the street. Every single comment said, but what about affordable? We want more affordable in our backyard. So that really shows how palatable this topic is and how much things have changed. And we're ready to get to work, and so I'm excited for you to hear about the plan. Thank you.
So my thanks again to Amy and to all of our council members who are standing here with me today, and for every other elected official that is here with us today. Now, our council members have worked with my staff and I through numerous meetings to advance housing initiatives and to help shape our plan. Now, some, like Councilmember Rice, have also worked on this issue through their involvement with other agencies such as Forward Pinellas. To Deputy Mayor Kanika Tomlin and our administrators, specifically our Neighborhood Affairs Administrator Rob Gertis and his entire team, thank you all for your hard work. And thank you as well to our City Development Administrator Alan Delisle and his team, and to my Policy and Public Engagement team in the Mayor's office. Thank you to you all too. And to those standing with us here today, whether here in spirit or here in their presence, I want to say thank you for your support. Now specifically, I need to give a special shout out to the new chair of the St. Petersburg Housing Authority, who is here with us today, Ms. Stephanie Long. Stephanie and our new commissioners are leading the turnaround of this critical organization. So my friends, thoughtful, comprehensive housing strategies, they don't get created on the fly. There are no quick fixes or shortcuts or silver bullets. It is hard work. It's a complex challenge, one that is plaguing cities across the nation. Now, this plan that we have put together is the result of community feedback, considerable research, and much expertise. And I am truly fortunate to have a city council who cares so deeply about this issue. I'm fortunate to lead an engaged city that cares about this issue and to work with an outstanding, dedicated team at City Hall. Now, our plan, if not the many details, is simple. Housing for all, from all. It's a 10-year plan that expands existing programs and introduces new solutions. The plan will begin in 2020 and will be funded through various public and private sources. And we believe the plan will impact approximately 7,000 households, improving life for approximately 19,000 of our current residents and those aspiring to become residents. Single-income families, retirees, first responders, teachers, nurses, and more. And I do believe we have a few teachers that are here with us today. So I want to first thank you for what you do. And I want to thank you for being here. And for all the teachers who are in this room, would you please raise your hand so we can recognize you? Now, the plan mainly focuses on supporting low and moderate income households, but will also offer solutions for families and middle income households and above. Folks who want to live the St. Pete dream, but can't find the right housing at the right price. Our aim is to create and preserve 2,400 affordable multifamily units. Now, this is double the number of units we have been able to support over the past 10 years. Support the development of 200 non-subsidized workforce density bonus units to increase the supply of multifamily units, which is basically a zoning strategy to encourage developers to include affordable units. Include mixed income developments on city-owned lands, and to support the construction of 300 accessory dwelling units by encouraging developers to include affordable units like carriage houses and garage apartments. Now, we will also enable the purchase of 500 single-family homes for households earning 120% of the area median income or below, provide 150 single-family lots for construction of new affordable homes, and enable more than 3,200 single-family homeowners to stay in their homes by remedying code violations through available grants and additional city funding. In short, our plan will provide an increased supply of dwelling units, assist those who want to have home ownership, and help keep families in their existing homes so they don't get pushed out by rising prices. Now, the largest and most impactful piece of the plan will leverage approximately $60 million of city funding for the construction and preservation of the 2,400 affordable multifamily units. That's the for all piece. Here's where the from all piece comes in. The largest and most impactful piece of the plan, we will tap into the federal government's Home Investment Partnership for $1.5 million. This is a federal funding source that provides money to the city through their annual budget process. We will utilize $2.5 million of SHIP, or State Housing Initiative Partnership, a state funding source that provides money to the city through annual state budget process. We will make use of existing city-owned land and future acquisitions valued at approximately $10 million for the use of housing that is affordable. We will utilize $15 million from the penny for Pinellas. And to those of you who may be unfamiliar with the penny, it is a 1% sales tax that funds long-term capital projects in Pinellas County. We will allocate $8.5 million of the local taxes collected within the South St. Petersburg CRA to help fund housing within the CRA, and to take advantage of the floor area ratio bonus, which is a fee paid by developers for the right to develop additional square footage on property. And we remain open to a linkage fee, pending the results of a study that is currently being conducted. $20 million could be generated from a possible impact fee on new market rate construction, even when the fee is limited to protect targeted development, such as new office space. So while there is much work to be done to make this plan a reality, we're also not waiting a second longer. Over the past year, we have been advancing many initiatives that support the goals in this plan. In addition, we recently sent to our City Council a proposed amendment to the existing contract to develop the Commerce Park on the Deuces, or 22nd Street South. Now, this is exciting news involving city-owned land, and I'd like Dr. Tomlin to talk a little bit more about it. Dr. Tomlin?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to everyone for being here. It's great to see so many champions gather for what's most important in our community. We all know how important the historic 22nd Street South corridor is to our city, and how important it is that the progress that unfolds there is done right, is sustainable, and serves to advance the interests of our community. Now, in 2014, our administration inherited a long vacant piece of land that had some strings attached. Create jobs, or pay the federal government more than $2 million. That was the deal. At the time, the best course of action was to incentivize a development project that would satisfy that job creation requirement while providing the citizens of the South St. Pete CRA with new opportunities. Today, given our persistent and growing housing challenges and the need to bring even more activity to our beloved Deuces, we've decided to not only create jobs, but to build much needed affordable, workforce, and market rate housing on There are many details and complexities within the amended proposal that we sent to Council last Friday, but the overarching message of this course correction should be clear. Housing that's affordable is needed, and we hear you, St. Pete. I want to reemphasize a long-standing objective of our administration. New developments, whether residences, grocery stores, banks, whatever they are, won't survive unless we focus on also developing the people who are served by them. And that's what we've been doing. We recognize that talent, aspiration, and the drive to succeed, that's always been in South St. Pete. But opportunity simply has not. And that's our job. That's what we've been focused on, creating opportunity, increasing access, and advancing equity in ways that help the sun shine brightly on everyone who calls our city home, regardless of where that home might be. And we're making real and lasting progress. We're very excited about it. Now I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Tomlin. So last month I joined my fellow mayors from around the United States for the annual U.S. Conference of Mayors. And this conference is nonpartisan. The mayors that attend lead cities with as few as 30,000 residents and as many as 9 million residents. And I can tell you unequivocally that this housing affordability problem does not discriminate. This problem is not unique to us here in St. Petersburg. If you are a growing and thriving city like St. Pete, this is a problem that you are wrestling with. In fact, at the U.S. Conference of Mayors, we adopted multiple resolutions just on housing alone. But we also know that it is a problem we cannot solve on our own. We need community partners like the ones here today. We need our state government to do more and to be better stewards of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Councilmember Gabbard has been highlighting this problem and has lobbied to protect this money. We need our elected officials in Washington to oppose the elimination of the home program and begin to restore program funding by at least $1.75 billion in 2020. We need Congress to recognize that a home is the foundation of American life and that housing is critical infrastructure. Our city government, our entire city in fact, has not shied away from tackling big problems these past 5.5 years. We've not kicked any cans down the road hoping some other group will figure it out. This has been an era of action, and it's what's expected of us. And while meaningful dialogue will continue on this issue and will be a part of our Vision 2050 endeavor, we must not wait to get moving. If we are to truly be that city of opportunity for all, it requires safe, decent, and housing that's affordable for all of our residents. So with that, I thank you all for being here. I thank all of you for being here and being a part of this effort, for being great partners with our community as we tackle this issue that we will be successful on. And we are willing to take any questions that you might have. Thank you all so much.
So the home and ship money, that already comes, and the penny money has already come, and the CRA is in place, and the linkage fees are already in the works. So what new initiatives are new today with this announcement that weren't already here yesterday?
Yeah, and so there's a number of questions that you all are going to ask of me, and I could answer them, but I want to make sure that the answers you're given are accurate. So I'm going to turn the podium over to our Housing Director, our Neighborhood Affairs Administrator, Rob Curtis.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you to everybody that's here to join us. And just a moment to thank all the staff that's been working so hard on this effort. I really appreciate it. So, Mr. Solomon, a couple things I'd like to say to that. First of all, since the spring of 2018, we've really been working with City Council on laying out these strategies. And really what's new is putting this, synthesizing all the work that we've been doing and putting it into a 10-year plan and setting goal numbers that go with it. So for example, the mayor's making news today by saying we're going to double the amount of multifamily units over the next 10 years that we've done in the previous 10 years. So that is new today. On the funding side, certainly the FAR bonus is new information. The planning department has been working on this. Over the previous 10 years, we've received about $40,000 from that FAR bonus, so not a very significant amount of money. We're anticipating with the changes, $2.5 million over the next 10 years, so that's significant news. And also the announcement on the linkage fee that the mayor is open to that and working through that. That would be brand new funding for affordable housing.
Can you talk a little bit more about how that would work? If the developer was wanting to come in, they would be required to have affordable housing throughout the city in certain areas? And what type of fee would they have to pay?
So a linkage fee is an impact fee on new development, and the study that the mayor spoke about is a nexus study. And what it really determines is that there's a link from the creation of new development that creates new jobs, that create a new demand for affordable housing. So what the impact fee then is used is to create that workforce housing, to provide housing for those new jobs that are created. It's typically on a square foot basis. So say if a developer came in and did a 10,000 square foot retail space, and the linkage fee was $1 a square foot, there would be a $10,000 fee that would go to an affordable housing trust fund to help provide units for the workers that would eventually be in that retail space.
How do you deal with the NIMBYism, like you guys mentioned? I mean, we have obviously this initiative in place, but we still have the problem of people who say, but not in my neighborhood.
Yeah, well, and that's why this plan is called For All From All. It really does require the entire community to speak with one voice and say that housing affordability is an issue. We recognize it's an issue that needs to be addressed, and we're all in it together. That's one of the things that I've been very proud of over the years of this community, is St. Petersburg has been one community. It has stood up for those who are most in need. And that's what the expectation is that that's what this community will do, is that we will stand up as one community and address this. You'll notice that we don't talk about affordable housing, we talk about a housing that's affordable. And we do that specifically because there's a lot of different definitions that people have for what it is truly affordable housing. There's a lot of perceptions that aren't accurate about affordable housing. But what we do know is that there is a need for housing affordability across the spectrum, from low income to low income, to workforce housing, to middle class, to families who live in a city. There's a lot of 2-bedroom, 1-bath houses, but they've got 3 or 4 kids, and they're looking for that 3 or 4 bedroom. And so we're talking about a plan, and we're asking the community to embrace a plan that provides housing for all, that involves the whole community.
Mayor, are we also looking at, with the affordable housing moving into all neighborhoods, trying to also create a better integration of the communities, not just while still maintaining the culture of each community, but also integrating our communities a little bit more?
Yeah, I think housing that's affordable works best when there's a mix. When you look at a development, and this place is a great example. I mean, this Burlington Post fits in well with this community. It meshes well with the community. You don't drive by and say, well, that's where these people live or this group lives. It feels a part of the community. When it's done right, which this was, you can't tell the difference. That's the way it should be. We don't want to create pockets where people point and say that's where all those people live or this group lives. We want the community to be one community, and that means it's diverse. It means people of different economic incomes all live together.
Can you also just clarify and distinguish between public housing and affordable housing? Because I think, to your point, people don't understand that there is a difference.
Thank you. So essentially, workforce or affordable housing is for households that are making 120% of the area median income or below. And it can be funded in a variety of ways, and it can be owned in a variety of ways. It can be owned by for-profit developers or non-profit developers. Public housing is typically going to be owned by the federal government through HUD or through a housing authority. And I just want to also reiterate what the mayor said earlier about the new board of the St. Petersburg Housing Authority, and just how thrilled we are with the new energy and excitement and hopefully the new partnership that we're going to have with the St. Petersburg Housing Authority, because that's going to help us all to produce more units for the citizens in St. Petersburg.
Mr. Ernest, can you comment on the Nexus study preliminary findings that you guys received and when we might expect a full report?
Sure. Frankly, there's not very much to say about the preliminary findings. It was really just kind of a draft at the beginning framework. It didn't include any potential linkage or linkage fee associated with it. So there's really not much to say about the draft. We are scheduled to make the full presentation to City Council, I believe, on September 25th or 26th. Would probably expect the full report early in September to prepare for that. So I would say that's the time when we would have more detailed information on that.
One more question.
Dr. Tomlin, can you talk more about Commerce Park and how you're going to bring affordable housing into that mix?
Yes, so we just submitted an amendment to City Council for their consideration that includes, in addition to the components that are there for industrial and commercial space, affordable housing units that will be mixed between affordable, 80 to 120.
50%, I think 50% of the units that are constructed there, 50% of the units that are constructed there will fall within that range. And we're also looking at, of that 50%, a portion of that to also be below that range.
And market rate.
And